So I made a video about yoga and how yoga is a spiritual science which can help us come to understand and know ourselves. Know thyself. It can help us come to the realization and experience the fact that we are spiritual beings driving around a piece of technology, an organic machine called a body, and that yoga and meditation is a powerful tool to help us awaken and become balanced in our energy system so that we can be in the world but not of the world. Right now, a lot of people are of the world because they're stuck in their lower chakras, in survival mode, in their instinctual modes, and in that way they're controlled because they become addicted to the pleasures of those lower chakras. And yoga is a way for us to pull that energy back up into the higher center so that all of our centers are open and alive. And then we can be effective in the world in a way that is good and not controlled by the external, right? But I also made a video about cults yesterday. And it's very important to recognize that there are actually a lot of cults that use yoga at the center of them. Because there are predatory people who have an understanding of yoga. And they also have an understanding that people are starved for spiritual truth. And it's a sad fact that not every spiritual person, not every awake person is also a godly, good, righteous person. There are wicked people who have spiritual understanding, and these are the types of people that start cults, and they use the truth and they twist it because the truth resonates with us. So they speak the truth to people who are desperate to hear it, and they get them to come close, and then they say, I have more for you. Okay? I have more for you. I can share with you. It's only going to cost you this. Right? The way you behave, the information you're allowed to take in, the way you're allowed to think. I'm going to tell you what to think. And how you're allowed to emote or not. These things are controlled in the cult. And you'll see this with spiritual gurus in certain ashrams who they'll charge people to come and stay there to give them a connection to God. They charge money, which means that these people have to go out into the world and be of the world in order to get that money to give to the guru. And the guru is usually not real concerned with how they're earning that money. Right? But there's a financial exchange happening for the gift, what's supposed to be a gift. God's truth and wisdom is free. So if you really wanted people to have that, and you were really in tune with it, and feeding from manna that's free and ever flowing, why do you need to withhold it from people when that would liberate them and create peace? That's a red flag, okay? There are a lot of yoga gurus who do this. And then you'll see that these places too, they want everybody dressing the same. And there's a lot of spiritual bypassing that happens, as in like, don't be negative, don't talk about dark things, don't talk about bad things, because like actually you're making that happen by thinking about it, and like we don't have time for that. You'll see these things in spiritual communities that are actually cults. And in the West, there are, yoga caught on in the, I guess, 60s and 70s. It got real big. because you had certain spiritual gurus from the East who decided they wanted to capitalize on their spiritual knowledge, and that the best place to do that was the West, because in the West, that's our culture, is we make everything into a commodity, and we are starved for spirituality. So they thought, oh, I have a product for you, and they did. You have all of these really spiritually starved people who also are working for the corporations and have all this money, so they'll throw the money at you, right? And then you got people like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi sitting on literal piles of gold, or Osho, you know, with his cult in Oregon, has a whole damn fleet of Rolls Royces and all these Rolex watches. And yeah, only in the West. This is the culture here. And so it's as you start awakening to the fact that the United States of America is a cult, and that it has kept you enslaved through addictions pertaining to the lower chakras, and you start wanting to get to know your higher self, be careful of the yoga traps that are laid out everywhere. Because they abound. And it's really sad and it's sickening. It's very much like spiritual pedophilia, right? Because just like an adult who can prey upon a vulnerable young child who is starved for love and attention that they're not getting from their parents, a spiritual predator will use their spiritual knowledge and understanding to prey upon their brothers and sisters who have been cut off from their heavenly Father and are starved for that love and attention. You don't need to pay anybody to connect to God. God lives inside of you. You don't have to wear a costume. God doesn't require a uniform. And you should be able to talk to God in any language, in any way that you want. Right? You can. God knows your heart, and this is how God speaks to us. We speak to God with our heart, and God speaks back to us through our hearts. And you don't need an intercessory for that. You don't need a priest. You don't need a guru. Can we learn from spiritual teachers? Yes. But guess what? Everyone is a spiritual teacher, because everyone is a spiritual being. And we all are different angles of the one sun, the one God, the one light. So, you're my teacher, I'm your teacher. The homeless guy on the corner, he's got a story, he's a teacher too. So, yoga's great, but like any tool or technology, it can be used as a weapon if misapplied.